Good evening. Tonight we're going to talk about the follow-through, which is just what I like to call a specific aspect of the extension in weightlifting. You can see the follow-through part of a lift in the snatch, the clean, and the jerk. So I'm just going to touch on the where you see it happen in each of the lifts and how to practice it, and some points of performance. So when I say follow through, what I'm thinking about is in most contact sports and a lot of sports where you have to move something or cause something else to change position, then you don't want to just make contact and then stop. You want to make contact and move through the object, or if you're in a more pugilistic endeavor, when you want to hit the person and move them out of the way, you want to move through that object or person. So the same thing applies in weightlifting. When we want to move the barbell, the implement or the object, we want to make sure we're moving through it. We're not just getting to it and stopping. So when we're thinking about the follow-through part of the lift, what I'm really focusing on is after the extension, we want to make sure that we extend and then allow and follow through. So we're not just going to extend to here and allow the barbell and then try to get under the barbell. We want to extend and follow through and allow the barbell to move up and almost become weightless, so to speak, as then we jump down underneath the barbell. So in a snatch, what we're talking about is really after the extension, this portion of the lift would be, I would consider the follow through. So we're here, we're allowing the barbell to slowly rise up as we start to descend down under the bar. Same thing with clean. I'm going to extend, and as I extend, or after I extend and I've stopped moving, the barbell is going to start to kind of rise up as I retreat under the barbell. And then with a jerk, it's the same sort of idea. When I push through the barbell, I'm not just going to push and get to the barbell and stop. I'm going to push through it so that the barbell goes over my head and I can land in my split. So how do you practice the follow through? The most important ways, the most beneficial ways to practice the follow through are through mostly muscle snatches and push presses. I think muscle cleans are effective, but oftentimes we get too much bicep action and they diminish in their benefit. So what we're going to focus on is the muscle snatch and the push press. Basic points of performance for a muscle snatch are that we want the turnover to be as high as possible. I know there are some people who like to do muscle snatches where they pull and they get to this position and then they press, and I think that those are fine for some things, but for practicing the follow through and extension, we want to make sure that we're getting those elbows as high as possible so that the turnover is as high as possible. So basically, I like to do good old-fashioned mid-thigh muscle snatches. So we're going to get down to mid-thigh, which is about here, and we're going to push and then allow the barbell to explode off our legs, and we're going to keep our legs straight and extended for as long as we can before we recover under. Remember, for a muscle snatch and for a muscle clean for that matter, we don't want to jump and land because that's a power snatch. We want to push and stay extended for a long period of time and allow that follow through to occur before we recover under the barbell. So mid-thigh muscle snatches are a really great way to practice this follow through. And then also I find that push presses are really helpful too. It's the major points of performance for a push press, especially when we're practicing the follow through of the lift, is that we want to make sure that we're not doing this. We're not pushing the barbell away from us and trying to move. You get sort of like circular motion with the head and the arms. We want to make sure that we're in a nice strong front rack, we're braced, and we push straight up. You want to make sure we're thinking about pushing with the shoulders, not with your shoulder muscles necessarily, but with your shoulders as if they were a platform pushing the barbell. So I'm thinking about the barbell resting on my shoulders and on my deltoids, and I'm just trying to push those into the barbell and effectively through it so that the barbell gains some momentum, and then once I get as extended as I possibly can, the barbell will keep moving because of momentum, and as it moves off my shoulders, I'm going to recover down underneath it. Typically for a push press, what we want to think about is as that barbell gains enough momentum, I'm then going to continue the momentum with my arms. In a jerk, we want to think about we want to allow that momentum to gain and then split underneath it, jump down under the bar. Playing with push presses and muscle snatches, I think, can really help teach you what it means to allow that extension to happen completely and to allow the barbell to gain momentum enough so that you can then recover underneath it, or in the case of a snatch, or split down under it in the case of a jerk. The same principles apply to cleans and should be applied to cleans. So it's just harder to practice with a muscle clean because there's so much room to sort of cheat. But if you want to think about it, the way to think about a muscle clean is you want to make sure that we're staying right on top of the barbell or slightly behind it and allowing that barbell to get nice and high, and the turnover is right at your shoulders. So for a muscle clean, you shouldn't be moving around excessively. It should be straight up and right into your catch position. And same principle as the snatch. Really, we want to make sure we're moving straight up and it's recovering right over my head. Sometimes you get people who like to muscle snatch like this, and there's a lot of extra motion with the shoulders and upper back. But we want to make sure that we're moving nice and straight in a straight line. So with the muscle clean, we want to make sure we're moving straight in a straight line, and with a push press, we want to straight up into the press. So yeah, that's what I think of when I think of the follow through and how we want to think about practicing those muscle variations of lifts and push presses. I think that if you add a little bit of focus to following through in your extension and extending for a slightly longer period of time before you recover underneath the barbell or drop down into your split catch, then that will have a large benefit on your weightlifting. Thanks for watching this video, and see you in the next one.